supporting mental health. The day provides an opportunity for all stakeholders working on mental health issues to talk about their work and what they need to be done to make mental health care a reality for people worldwide. World Mental Health Day for this year is an opportunity for people and communities to unite behind the theme. Mental health is a universal right. And that is to improve knowledge, raise awareness, and drive actions that promote and protect everyone's mental health as a universal human. And my guest is a very interesting personality. She's making her debut on Insight. Her name is Dinma Amadi. Welcome to Insight.
Thank you very much.
Dinma is a mental health advocate and coach. She runs a Dinma Amadi Mental Health Initiative, which is focused on creating awareness and providing support to persons struggling with depression, anxiety, ideation, and other related mental health disorders. Dinma has had first-hand experience of depression for over 4 years of her life. And at a point, she even thought of taking her life. But thank God, that did not happen. Now she has become the change she wants to see, using her own story to destigmatize mental health issues in Nigeria and raising the torchlight for others to work through. Dinma, once again, welcome to Insight.
Thank you very much.
Such a pleasure to have you today.
The pleasure is mine.
And you can join our live stream on YouTube. Simply type in Citizen FM 93.7 and you will be part of the show. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. At 10:30, we will open the phone lines. But for now, let's pick our brain. Let's talk to Dinma. Let's share from our experiences. And also, let's talk about World Mental Health Day. Once again, welcome to it. Okay, let's start this way. When we talk about help us on this. What exactly is a mental health challenge?
Okay. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here. Talking about mental health in Nigeria. Will not take very seriously in this part of our world. So mental health challenge can also be called as a mental health illness, which is a condition that affects how a person thinks, how a person feels, and how a person acts. So there are different factors that can affect mental illness. So when we talk about mental illness, you should see it as, I usually just simply define it as the sickness of the mind. So the way we have physical illness, the ones that you can see, like someone has a cut or a bruise, things that you can see, things that you can feel, things that you can weigh. Mental illnesses, most of the times you can see that you can feel, and that's why someone can say, oh, that is how I'm feeling, but I don't understand it, So you cannot see them. They're sickness of the mind. However, sometimes they can also they can be, when you have a mental illness, you can also develop a physical illness as a result of that. Yes.
Okay. I want us, as we discussed before we came on air, I want us to be as real as possible, and so that people listening to us will be able to feel what we are talking about. And that's why deliberately we didn't want to bring in those experts who will come and as we say, blow a lot of grammar, and people are left more confused at the end of the day. You have been working in this field. You have been a victim at a point in time. So, from your perspective, what are those daily, maybe little behaviors or habits that could threaten the health of anyone?
Okay, so they can range from different things. It can come from different things. Can come from environment, can come from stress. It can, and stress from different places, of course. Can be stress from marriage, parent, family stress, like even for children, stress from parents, school stress. Can also come from substance misuse, and of course drugs misuse. It can come from environment, mostly especially for children. It can come from change of environment. So these are the things that can affect a person's mental health. Yeah. So when you, for example, personally, like I told you, I definitely one of to develop a mental health disorder called depression is change of environment. Yes, but these are things that we do not even take seriously. Bullying too. Children who are bullied in school can develop serious mental health disorders and things like that. Yes.
Okay. Let us talk about stigma. You said mental health illness is almost as you can also say it's like a physical health.
Yes.
Now I know that if you have a physical health challenge, you can tell your friends, "Oh, I want to go see a doctor to treat this cut on my leg." But if you have a mental health issue, there is something about the way people look at you or react when you say you want to seek help for a mental health problem. How deep is this stigmatization?
Well, it's really, really very deep, just like you said. By the time you say, "Oh, I want to go and see someone because I'm having some mental health struggles," the next thing the average Nigerian will think is that you're probably mad, and that's why, like, when you talk about things like that, people say, sometimes people tell you, "You're thinking too much, don't worry, you're going to get over it," or maybe just take some rest. Or we spiritualize it and start telling you that have you prayed enough? Probably you're not reading the word of God enough and things like that. So there is a scenario that we usually create them understand the level of stigmatization. And the scenario is like this. If you're working in a place, for example, and one morning you get up, or you're even going through depression and anxiety or something, or you're having post-traumatic stress disorder, and you can't make it to work, do you call into work saying, "I'm having an anxiety attack," or will you lie saying, "I have a headache," or I have malaria, typhoid? So of course 90% of people, if I'm not exaggerating, are going to tell a lie, because first of all, you're going to be judged. Like, which one is having depression? You cannot come to work. Secondly, get over it, man up, because it's not something that you take immediate medication for, so they think it's not important. Yeah, that's the level of stigmatization around mental health in our society.
Still staying with stigma, what about the role of family, the role of tradition and culture, and even religion, which you just mentioned a little bit? How has this fact helped to perpetuate stigma?
Of course they have, in so many areas. Start with culture. You see a child who is probably going through post-traumatic stress disorder from an event that happened in their lives. Maybe a child who has lost a parent, or even their parents, and then they start, manifesting some symptoms of depression or some symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder. For example, if a child have lost a parent, a parent or the both parents, or a very loved one, it can affect the child's education. The child can, go to school and start forgetting. The child may just start, acting up. The child may start disassociating himself or herself from other people, and may develop what we call dissociative disorder. So you now start saying that, oh, this child is abnormal. And, most of these children, when you go to school, you see them being bullied. You see them being flogged. Why don't you talk? What is wrong with you? Open your mouth. Others are talking, you're not talking. And then you continuously bully this kid and even add up to whatever it is they are going through. So that's one way that culture adds, because we feel like everybody is supposed to be the same. We have an idea in our mind that we are all supposed to be the same, but we cannot be the same. We are unique. We are all different. So you don't know what a child is going through or what someone is going through that has made them to become, this quiet person. They are introverted. Maybe someone used to be an extrovert, and before you know it, they just become introverted, and they don't want to go out again. And you're like, you don't like going out. You just, talk to the person anyhow. And then that's culture. And some of these children also, you've seen a lot of people that are termed witches and wizards just because, they are manifesting some symptoms of depression and things like that. Take, for example, someone that has schizophrenia. The person may be talking to himself or herself. I have an uncle who has schizophrenia, and I have, of course, heard my people say, oh, there is something wrong with this person. They say the devil is, something is definitely wrong with him. It could be the devil following him or things like that. But diving into the area of mental health, I came to understand that no, this is wrong. This is what is wrong with this person. And even tracing his life back, I know a number of traumatic things that have happened to him that can even cause such disorder to develop in him. He has those symptoms like distorted speech. Someone can have distorted speech. Someone that fidgets a lot. They may hold something, and before you know it, the thing will fall down. You're like, what is wrong with you? Things always fall off from your hand. There is something wrong. Then bringing it to the religion, of course, we already know. Hey, they'll bring you to church or wherever. Say, something is wrong with you. You are possessed. Let's pray for you. There were a lot of those people in my secondary school. So yeah, that's the level of stigmatization in that area.
Oh, well, if you're just joining us, it's Insight on Citizen FM 93.7, and we are discussing mental health. Today is a World Mental Health Day, as declared by the World Health Organization. And my guest is Dinma Amadi, who is a mental health advocate and also a coach. Dinma, you told us that you had a first-hand experience of depression for over 4 years of your life. Tell us about it. What happened?
Oh, okay. That's a long story, so I'll probably just touch it here and there. So that was basically when I changed environment, when I traveled out of Nigeria to go do my tertiary education.
Okay, you japat.
Yes. I japat to an unknown land.
Okay.
And so it was really difficult to cope, very, very difficult to cope. It was a lot. So the change of environment really, really did me dirty. It messed me up and all that, and of course, I'm one of those kids who really found education difficult. And these are some of the things I would take for granted. Now, I would say this. I studied a course that I really, really did not want to study. It was not like my first choice. But somehow I found myself there.
Were you forced to do this by your parents?
No, it was not forced, but I was influenced. Yes, so to say, I was influenced. I won't say forced, because probably if I said, I'm not going anywhere. they will not bond me and take me there now. So, but I was influenced by of course, parents and people around. It was like influence of, this is what is good for you. Everybody's saying it. What are you doing here? Opportunity to jump, you're still here. So finally I got there. And so it was a difficult process for me in school. It was really difficult. All of those things led to me being some of depression. And of course, I'm always vulnerable to share it. A lot of people may be ashamed to say these things. But of course, I also dived into a relationship that kind of messed me up. Yes, in a relationship where I felt like I was being controlled and, things like that. So that added to the whole thing. And of course, some other situations that comes with being in a foreign land, where I schooled, you are not allowed to work as a student. So it was extra difficult to take care of yourself, So it put a lot of pressure on me. Of course, I know it did put a lot of pressure on other people too. But for me, I noticed it was even affecting my education. So I dived into this serious depression. I lost a lot of interest. I lost interest in a lot of things. I started having mood swings, mood disorders. I didn't know what was wrong. I kept asking, what was wrong? I prayed, nothing was happening. I kept searching for what was wrong with me, and I couldn't, find it. And eventually I started developing suicide ideation. I started idealizing suicide in my mind. I would go out and I would think, in fact, at some point I started having these hallucinations, like things telling me. I used to live on the ninth floor at some point, and I would hear things telling me in my head to just, jump down the ninth floor and end it all. These are things I was struggling with, and people did not really understand it. In fact, sometimes my classmates would be like, what's even wrong with this blessing? You are just on and off, But they didn't understand, and even I didn't understand. And then saying those things about me even added to it. The stigmatization added to it. Like, what's even wrong with this girl? Today she's on, today she's off. It added to it because I didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't know how to help myself, but I didn't want to be in that situation either. So it was really difficult. For the depression started before the suicide ideation came, and for over 1 year, I kept thinking about how I could just die. How would I kill myself without, feeling it? What are my parents going to do? When you have suicide ideation, you are always thinking about death. How best can you do it? Who is going to be affected? When can you do it? You just get tired. People don't understand it. You get tired.
So how did the break come? How did you finally get out of that?
Okay, so eventually, of course, it came back with me to Nigeria. But I started the search for a healing when I was still in school. And I started making research and all those things. And then I came back to Nigeria, continued the research. And of course, while I was still back in school, I started, talking about those things. I had this friend who was a psychologist. So one day she came to my house, and I was always cleaning and things like that. And she said, Blessing, you have OCD. Do you know that? And I said, what's OCD? And she went online, and she's a psychologist, and she did this short test about my symptoms. How I'm always, I want to do this.
Cleaning up things.
Yes. And then she said, look at, you have obsessive compulsive disorder. And we were laughing about it. And from there, I then started making search. And then that was when the whole thing started unveiling, and my eyes began to open, and then I just dived into that industry, making more research, taking courses, and
And gradually the
yes.
idea of suicide faded off.
Eventually I also had to talk to a therapist. When I came back to Nigeria, I spoke to a therapist. Mima, shout out to her. I spoke to her, and that helped a lot in my healing journey.
Oh, well, we thank God for your life.
Yes.
Not a lot of other people would be this lucky. Yes. Some other people ended up the wrong way, but all the same, it's still Insight on Citizen FM 93.7, and we are discussing mental health. My guest is Dinma Amadi, a mental health advocate. We'll take a short break. But when we return, the phone lines will be open and then we can start receiving calls. Please don't go away. Thank you for staying tuned. It's still Insight on Citizen FM 3.7. We are discussing mental health in commemoration of the 2023 World Mental Health Day. And my guest is Dinma Amadi, a mental health advocate in the studio. The phone lines are open now. You can call us on 0903 2229797. That's 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818-2222-205. That's 0818-2222-205. Or you can call us on 0818-2222-206. Any of the three numbers. You can also send us a WhatsApp message on any of those numbers, and then we will read out your message. Just let us know where you're writing in from any of those numbers. My guest again, Dinma Amadi, mental health advocate, and we are discussing mental health issue. Oh, we have a drop call there. You can try again. Can see your calls trying to come in, especially on the 206 line and the 205 line. Let's try and call again. So, Dinma, let's move on. Let's look at some other issues, because this is something that, thank God, these days, more and more people are willing to talk about it, unlike before, that people were shy because of the stigma again. We still go back to that stigma again. Now, this is your field for now, and I'm sure that you've come in contact with a lot of people who have this. What has been the level of access to treatment and even affordability? How has it been?
Well, first of all, the access to treatment in this part of the world is very, very poor. It's, in fact, statistically, the access of therapy to people who need therapies in the European world is said to be 1:100,000. And in Nigeria, you cannot guess the ratio. 1:1 million.
Wow.
So how many people are going to access therapy? How many people are you going to attend to? So now, given the demand and supply, you can see that of course it cannot be affordable. It will not be affordable, except if there is, like, if people step in, if organizations step in or government step in, because then you go to rehabilitation centers, you see people just lying their bondage, people who just need simple, what we call psychotherapy, and they just dump them there and say they are mad. No access to therapy, so it's very difficult and it's not affordable at all.
Some people even get flogged, chained down, stuff like that.
Yes,
it's sad. In terms of the communication model, let's look at that. The language, the media platforms that has been used over the years about this. Sometimes you find also that the language is a little bit condescending.
Yes.
When people talk about mental health illness, as you say, oh, the guy don't colo.
Yes.
The guy is crazy and stuff like that. This has really not helped.
Yes, it has not helped at all. The thing is, there is no sickness as madness. That's the truth. What we have, these things are mental health disorders. Even the people that will come mad who are in the streets, they just need psychiatric help. And of course, they are there because there is no access. We just say, oh, they have gone mad. They are just probably seeing things you cannot see, and and it's as a result of the mental health disorder. When it comes to mental health, disorder. When you see a person who is suffering, in fact, for example, we don't call people in the mental health world, there are languages that you must not use on people. For example, you cannot call somebody abnormal and things like that. Do you get? So putting those terms, like in a part of the world, we call people who are suffering from autism, we call them imbeciles in our part of the world. So you see these children from growing up, we call them imbecile. In fact, we have this nickname for them, imbe. In fact, and this is me putting it out there, all the people who have been calling people imbecile all their life, they are not imbeciles. They have what we call autism. They're suffering from autism. And there are different levels to it. You can be high functioning autism, and then there can be the chronic ones. And these people just need help. And even like ignorance can make their parents ashamed, and they don't know how to approach these things. So we should open up more and get used to the language, get used to accommodating people, being inclusive, which is even the essence of the mental health team for this year. It's a universal human right, so that there can be inclusion even in the workplaces. Inclusion.
Okay, I'm glad that you brought up the issue of the workplace, because sometimes I heard of a story last year from a volunteer who applied for a job, and he came out tops in the interview and was given the opportunity to start work immediately. And on his first day at work, after close of work, he told his boss that, when I'm coming tomorrow, I will need to stop over at the facility to see my mental health consultant. And that was the end of that job.
Wow.
He was sacked.
Wow.
He had to take it up, and some people had to bring up the issue and everything like that. So that's just a common feature of how bad that situation is.
Yes.
And I know that about a few months ago, maybe 8 months ago, that the former president, Muhammad Buhari, passed into law the Mental Health Act, which came in after about 20 years of. Even with this, it's still difficult to enforce this.
Yes, it's very difficult to enforce it. It will take us doing something about it. I'm very glad that you said that, because that validates a lot of things. Because currently my organization is working on doing mental health workforce training for corporate Nigeria. This is something that is very important. Our workplaces are very toxic. They add to a lot of stress, both for the employers and the employees. Because now you may go to submit proposals that you want to do mental health workforce training for your organizations, and they will think you want to come and maybe sideline their employees, make them to not become loyal to them. It's also for the employer. If an employer is stressed, you're definitely going to transfer that stress to your employees, and it's going to decrease productivity. Statistically, we lose 1 trillion billion every year due to people who the loss of days we have at work, a lot of work stress and all that. We lose a lot of working days. It's a global thing. Workplace mental health is something that is very, very serious, and we are currently working on it. To start those trainings for workforce organizations, because even personally I've experienced toxic workplaces, and it's not funny at all.
So
it's not funny at all.
All right, the lines are still open. You can call us on 0903 2229797. You can also call us on 0818 2222205 or 0818 2222206. We are discussing the World Mental Health Day, and my guest is Dinma Amadi, a mental health advocate. Dinma, let's go back to the family, because sometimes we see that when people initially develop these illnesses, they leave it till it's almost late before help is sought. Now, if you have a child in the family and you begin to notice some kind of abnormality, what are those things you can do as a parent?
Okay. So first of all, it's we keep encouraging parents to observe their children. Parents don't observe their children. Parents don't take note of their children's reaction. You have a child who comes back from school and they are so dull. A child that whenever they come back, they are so happy and they are so dull. You won't ask them, what's wrong? Were you bullied in school? Did somebody beat you? You have children who go to school and they are bullied and they're always told, oh, you're not beautiful, or maybe why is it that you always bring the wrong food to school? Other people are bringing indomie, you are bringing yam, or you are bringing something, do you get? Or other people are bringing golden more, you are bringing this. You have to inculcate, you have to keep talking to your children. Make sure that they are fine. Assure them of their self-esteem. Assure them of your love for them. Because one of the things that causes this low self-esteem that now graduates into these mental health disorders is emotional negligence. Yes. So when your children don't have affection from you, when you don't pay attention to them, when they go to schools, those things get into their head. And even people, grown-up children, even like we who are grown up and have parents, our parents should also look out for us. Like, what's going on with your children? Like now, young adults you see a lot of young adults under pressure, parental pressure, to provide. So you don't ever ask your children, are you okay? My father, sometimes when he calls me, even if I know I have to do things for them, sometimes he will ask me, what of you, have you eaten? He will tell me, see, go and buy good cream and raw, please buy fruits today and eat. Do you understand? Because he has it in mind. But there are just some parents that just keep taking, and your children are dying because they cannot speak up. And if they don't take care of you, of course, there is that they'll be seen as children who are bad, who don't take care of their parents. Who are failures. And I'm not saying you should not take care of your parents, but parents should also reciprocate by, showing their children that they care. I know it's a lot. Thank you. Thank them, appreciate them and all that. So what do you do when you find out that your child is withdrawing? Talk to them, and if you feel that you cannot have access to them, then please take them to a therapist. The child, it can be anything, not professional. Yes, not just a child who is withdrawing. It can be a child who is escalating into all this adolescence, becoming a deviant. It can even be a child. Your child may be struggling with pornography, for example, and you don't know, and they will never open up to you. So if you find you're not able to penetrate to your child, please take them to a professional. The earlier, the better.
All right, thank you so much. We can take one or two calls before we wrap it up because we are gradually winding down. 0903 2229 797 and 0818 2220205 or 0818 2222206. Mental health challenge, that's what we're discussing. Yes, we have a call. Let's see. Okay. Hello. Oh, it doesn't even seem to know that is. We picked the call is running. Please, when you call, just pay attention to your handset. We actually picked that call, but we can't hear anything. You can still call back 0903 2229 797 or 0818 2222205 or 0818 222206. Now, one question that keeps, anytime we talk about mental health, people would ask, how do we know who to go to when we have this? Because obviously there has to be some kind of specialization and different areas. So what will you advise such people?
Well, the truth is, since there is the access is very poor, so what you can do, of course, is to search out for mental health professionals around you. Like at my organization, every Friday we offer free mental health counseling. We have a pool of counselors that talk to people, so you can look out for organizations that offer mental health counseling. Some of them can be paid. Some of them we have stopping suicide I forgot that. Sorry, but we have. If you search,
there are a lot of information that you can get
there
on.
There are toll-free lines that you can call if you need access. If you're having suicide ideation, even there are toll-free lines that you can call to have access to mental health counseling and things like that. If you need help, but of course we need more of these things. It's not enough at all. We've not even gone halfway there. It's not enough at all. So
what will you say to people who are in a position to offer some kind of help in terms of we go back to stigma now? If you, for example, if I find someone who has a mental health challenge, what am I supposed to do to comfort, to reassure that person before he even seeks professional help?
Yes, I really love that question. So last month, 10th of September, was World Suicide Awareness and Prevention Day. And one of the things that we did was to sensitize people on this exact question that you've asked. So our flyers had on them how to help a person going through depression, because sometimes we don't even know these things. It's called mental health first aid. So when you, of course, come across somebody that you think is suffering, is really down, of course, the first thing is to listen to them. People love to be listened to. In this part of our world, we don't listen. The moment somebody says, "Oh, I'm going through," you will just start saying your own too. Even me, I'm also going through. Yeah, in fact, I suffer the same thing. You will not take over the story, or the next thing you do is to downplay the person's emotions. No, I don't think it's because of this. You start giving the person reasons why they are going through those things. It's not in your place to give them reasons. The truth is you don't know exactly how they feel. So listen to them if they want to talk to you about how they feel. So just listen to them and then recommend a therapist for them. And why you are recommending that for them or helping them to find one, please follow up on them. Call them. Ask, like, how is it going? Are you okay? Because the next minute, it just takes a few seconds for someone to decide, you know what, I'm going to take my life and end it here. So follow up on them, check on them until they find help. All
right, thank you so much, Dinma Amadi. It's a pleasure to have you on Inside. I wish we could discuss forever and ever. It's such enlightening to have you here on the program. Maybe one of these days again we will have to bring you back to this. It is so much better. Thank you so much for your interventions. All right, so that's a package on Insight. We've been discussing with Dinma Amadi, a mental health advocate, on World Mental Health Day. Insight will return tomorrow with another interesting topic. My name is Lawrence Umoette. Enjoy the rest of your day.